UK is a very good friend. EU is very good friends. Friends all over. You all know that it's a formula-based tariff. And based on that formula, friend or foe, everybody fit into that formula and had a tariff imposed on them.
China at 34%, Vietnam 46%, and for a country like Lesotho, a small country in Africa, one of the poorest in the continent, slapped with 50%. Now, all this coming at a time when global growth is slowing, inflation remains sticky, and for India, it comes despite having made concessions to US companies like Tesla. So what gives? What does it mean for India? What does it mean for global trade? And where do we go from here? Mr. Goyal, such a pleasure to have you with us. 26% tariffs for a friend who stood by the US and possibly helped to counter China's growing dominance in the world. How do you feel about that? How does India feel about that?
I think we all know that it's a formula-based tariff. And based on that formula, friend or foe, everybody fit into that formula and had a tariff imposed on them. So it's nothing to do with the fact that we are friends. Clearly, Prime Minister Modi and President Trump are very good friends, as are the administrations of the US and India, and as are the business persons and people of the two countries. So I think let's not conflate issues. There's nothing to do with, for that matter, UK is a very good friend, EU is very good friends, friends all over. But I think this is just a formula-based tariff.
So are you in conversations? Are you hoping that perhaps you'll get an exemption or perhaps a delay in the implementation?
Well, I think what we discuss in the boardroom is not discussed in a public forum.
But you are in conversations then?
That is a matter of public record. I think when the Prime Minister and President Trump met in February, they had both announced that we shall enter into discussions for a bilateral trade agreement by the fall of 25. Both countries are old friends, old allies, trusted partners. Our businesses work seamlessly with each other. India opened their arms to all the tech giants, be it Google, be it Meta. All of them were welcome in India, even when many other developed countries, and certainly China, did not allow them to operate in their countries. We have hundreds of thousands of students in the United States. We have a strategic partnership which transcends the economy. So there's lots that we are working together on. This will also be something that will add luster to our relationship.
So that trade deal is coming and you're confident it will happen by year end, including the other trade deals that you're working on, including the UK as well as Europe, which you have just indicated are friends.
You know, I'm not going to give Bloomberg a headline.
Put this in perspective for us. With what's going on right now, are we at the start of deglobalization? We've been throwing this word deglobalization for a while now.
I don't think so. I think this is reglobalization with honest terms of trade and countries which believe in the rule of law, like India, working in partnership with like nations who also would like to have an orderly framework. In the short run, there could be some turmoil. But as I mentioned earlier, India believes in converting every crisis into an opportunity.
So how do you seize the opportunities? What opportunities do you see? How does India play a bigger role in the shifting supply chains?
Ms. Amin, we are a democracy. We believe in the rule of law. There's fair play. We don't discriminate between Indian or foreign investment. All are welcome. The rules of the game are equal. Everything we do is transparent. And we have a very, very independent judiciary. and ferociously ruthless media. And add to that the social media now. Unforgiving. So obviously in India, we offer a conducive environment to work with. We have the world's largest population, 1.4 billion Indians, providing demand. And that local demand itself, sometimes I often worry that the local demand is growing so rapidly and our businesses are quite comfortable to grow and meet the local demand. And despite that, we still need imports because there's so much demand in a fastest growing economy, large economy in the world, that we are not focused enough on even exports, which is why I appeal that we have to leverage on all these free trade agreements. Otherwise, it's no good to do all of this.
But talk to us about how global trade will change on the back of what we're seeing right now. An environment with tariffs being imposed on all countries.
It'll be a very different world. They have to figure out how it will be administered. I, for the life of me, have not yet been able to understand how they will administer. For example, I don't know if you've observed the trade deficit of the United States with Vietnam over the years. 20 years ago, it was close to zero, maybe $1 billion to $3 billion. 5 years ago, it was probably $30 billion. Or 7 years ago. During the Trump administration first term, they slapped tariffs on China. And everybody thought their trade deficit with China has come down as a result of those tariffs. What we only found was that there was a trade diversion and the deficit from Vietnam has grown by the equal amount by which the deficit fell from China. So I think we've not heard the end of the story. We still need to see how trade diversion from countries who do not believe in fair play or transparency can be safeguarded against. We in India believe very strongly that we will stick to the rules of the game, and we believe that in the long run, ethics and honesty in operations always pays off.